And I can't breathe if it isn't you and I. And I won't make it without you by my side. I can walk and stand, can talk, can fly without you. I'm so lost without you. I won't make it without you. I'm so lost without you. I won't make it without you. I don't care what the others say, and I still think of you night and day, and yeah, I've lost my way, I can walk and stand, can talk, can fly without you. I'm so lost without you. I won't make it without you. I'm so lost without you. I won't make it without you.
We are a group of ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge. We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch.
We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Like and subscribe, ULTI.TV, the best in the world.
Become a member and
fund
fund
our
our
work to cover more events in the future and to bring more stories and live coverage to the eyes of the Ultimate world and beyond.
We are Hive Ultimate, a group of players and coaches from all over the world working together to progress the next generation of Ultimate strategy. We've helped top teams win world championships and new teams introduce the sport in a fun and inclusive way. Search for Hive Ultimate on YouTube to learn more about our cutting-edge strategies and to see analysis of world-class teams. To find out what Hive can do for your team, head over to our Patreon page where you can gain access to our exclusive drills and session plans and to join our worldwide community of coaches. Get ahead of the curve with Hive Ultimate.
Enjoying the show? Show your support for the live stream and the people making the show. Buy a super chat or super sticker on YouTube directly. Select your donation and type your message to the world. And share. All donations go into directly funding new shows. Buy a super sticker or super chat now. Thank you.
The ultimate things in life are free, and we're keeping it that way. Subscribe to keep up with the latest games, tournaments, and community content. Share it with your team and friends, and drop a like to help spread Ultimate to more people. Spread the word, spread the love. ULTI.TV.
We believe mixed is the best for the sport, for the world. That's why we're making a global showcase, starting in Europe, made in Amsterdam. ULTI.TV. ULTILeague.net.
Albusco Electric, become a member.
All right. A little something special for the WGGBMUCC. It's a lyrical sculpture in the sand that I carve. This is Flash on the mic, now on the Algarve. From 40 to 60, we are on the attack. If I can just get some vitamin I from my back. Foot on the line, yeah, I'm ready to go. Or did I just pull a muscle? Hold on for a moment. Play it cool, just act like I'm young. Got flicks on my wrist and lyrics on my tongue. 20 more, 10 more years left to go. Tricks from the past and a buttery flow. A little slow off the start, I like to call my speed brisk. The sunshine glints off my slow-moving disc. You know how it goes with the sand between my toes. I got none of the pivots, but all the throws. Yeah, I got some dodgy knees. Disc in my hand and the sun in the sky. My dad bod goes jiggle and my hugs they fly. The spirits are rising like a disc on the breeze, going miles out of bounds to the Portuguese seas. I played a point, yeah, I need a sub and a good long soak in an XL tub. Don't need to run anymore, I'm one of 14 handlers. Happy Gilmore this disc like we're all Adam Sandlers. I'm slow off the start, I like to call it brisk. The sunshine glints on my slow-moving disc. You know how it goes with the sand between my toes. We got none of the pivots, but all the throws. Alright, let's finish this off. My 6'2" still works in the bar. I can see from miles. Got drinks on my radar. Portimão party is the place we flee for the friends we see and these great memories. Yeah, I feel the spirit as I pull every sinew. Shatter my knees, yet we're gonna continue. Take this hand, better yet carry me from the beach to the bar, better yet to the sea. I'm slow off the start. I like to call my speed brisk. The sunshine glints off my slow-moving disc. You know how it goes with the sand between our toes. We got none of the pivots, but all of the throws.
Welcome back to the World Great Grandmasters Beach Ultimate Club Championships. The flags are flying once more. The rain has passed, but the wind has returned as we bring our fourth and final game of this arena field live stream to you. It is Legette from France versus Pushing Daisies from Canada. Myself, Hannah Pendry, on the call this fine windy Portimão day alongside Benji Rees. And what are we expecting from these two teams, Benji?
Apart from wind and rain?
Well, that's coming from the elements around as we get some lovely shots of this golden sand.
We'll have a look at the rosters. You can see that the Jets bringing a few more players. Pushing Daisies had some late dropouts, which caused a little bit of problem for them. So, based according to the form book, you feel like Legette are probably favourite, but I haven't said this cliche yet this weekend, so I'll bring it out again. You got to play the games on paper. You play them on the beautiful sands of the Praia da Rocha.
You do, and it is fluffy underfoot, although a little bit soggy. We've had inclement weather throughout today, which we're expecting to unfortunately be blessed with the rest of this championship. Rather contrasting from the opener there, as you saw it with the beautiful golden sands of Sardinia last year.
You say blessed, I say blighted, but yes, it's not been the greatest of weather. We kind of got away with it a little bit yesterday. The worst of the weather came during the lunch break. We have not escaped so fortunately today. But our camera crew are very bravely out there getting all the shots for you in the wind and the rain.
Absolutely tireless, and you can see those rolling waves coming in off the Atlantic. Great surf spot here in Portugal. This is the calmer side, of course, that sandbar out west causing some big old rippers that you can easily lose yourself in if you are not an expert surfer. But Beach Ultimate will be the name of the game here on this pitch today in front of us. You can just see us enjoying our little commentary pavilion. The pointy tents, we've seen some come a cropper, Benji, with the high wind conditions here.
Oscar's got himself out of shot.
Rather sensibly, yes. Thank you very much to all of our volunteers and staff, of course, the Beach Ultimate Lovers Association, keeping things moving, and the organisation on this tournament has been fantastic. I'm very much enjoying my little sarong here with the logo on it, Benji.
You've been raving about the tournament gifts.
They've been very sensible. We've got a little bit of lip balm going on, some sunnies for last week's tournament, which of course was more appropriate. We had fantastic conditions.
Sunglasses.
They did indeed. We didn't get any in ours, but the players did. Very well thought out, and these sort of bungee cordy, rubbery things that you can put your phone in. Yeah. It's all happening here. So 15 seconds signalled by Oscar as these teams get themselves ready. Very dashing Pushing Daisies kit, this sort of fruity flavour look.
Yeah, what would you call that? I'm not quite sure. I don't know, there's like a nice crimson going across the middle.
It's definitely very interesting. It's got a sort of almost a Dia de los Muertos theme with those skeletons on the front. The little daisies being pushed up, of course, a reference to being buried, and you could easily see yourself, you know, in these on these pitches, perhaps falling into a little bit of a divot and ending up being covered, of course. But hopefully we won't see either team doing that to each other in terms of the scoreboard. Seeing a couple of very big differences, so we're hoping for a tight game. And is that a Uren Ort I see on the roster for Pushing Daisies?
Yeah, the Dutch legend, but playing with the Canadians, based out in Ottawa.
He is, and he literally it's almost like he heard us call his name.
I think that's literally what happened. Yeah.
He didn't. He was just in front of our commentary booth at the very moment that we noticed him on the roster. Of course, an ultimate dad as well as ultimate player. So the first pull going up for Leggett. Pushing Daisies able to show us what they can get up to with the disc in hand. Millet tries to shoot up the far sideline, but hits the dust. Leggett getting a little bit hasty, but finding a nice one for Mallet. Very impactful on our first live stream game for Leggett. He was. Tessereau is going to boost it across, just shy of the goal. Mallet pops one up, but that's going to get taken away by the wind, but collected for redemption. Kristen Tuttle with the hero save.
Visionary ultimate. Or maybe just got bailed out a little bit. Who knows? You can hear the Daisy sideline. They're shouting strike, strike. The aim there, they want to get that force to come a lot flatter because they can see that free cutter coming on the open side, on that down the line cut. So they want the force to come up, to flatten up a little bit, to make that a harder throw. You're happy to succeed the break in that scenario if it means that you prevent the scoring pass. They just got out early enough, but with a little bit of high release, the wind is still a factor. It wasn't much in our last game, but it's come back a little bit here. And so it blows it over the top, but really good backup there from Tuttle to bring it in.
Yeah, they say you make your own luck, and Kristen Tuttle makes it happen for Leggett. First on the board, and it is a break to get us underway. These 45-minute long games, so important to start out strong. Or you can quickly see yourself be smothered and buried out here. And out of bounds pool is going to be brought into play. Those pitch lines do have lovely brick labels, almost in line with our wonderful camera operated chips, keeping nice and soggy out here on the field with our dashing soft shell. El Miragi looking around, searching for options, releases it low, but with a lot of tip on it. Karen Kavanagh with the collection, but a foul call, perhaps from Leggett.
You think the players look warm out there, Hannah?
Well, they've all got that look on their face of, ugh, which is one of the truly universal human expressions. A bit like across cultures, Benji, the only one that's truly universal is the look of confusion. Apparently, according to studies, that is the one thing that carries across languages and cultures.
Interesting.
But a drop in the center of the field cannot connect. I think that's Kavanagh after having made that hero redemption before, but it's an overshot for Leggett. They can't sneak a second break just yet.
Yeah, trying to strike while the iron is hot, although damp, by utilizing the quick pickup, getting the receiver going to the end zone when the wind is not as strong as it has been, as we mentioned, but it is going from right to left as you look at it on the picture, towards the end zone, where Water's going to bring the disc in now. So you do feel like maybe if you are going to shoot deep, that's the direction to do it.
Well, I tell you what, Benji, hot and wet are not mutually exclusive conditions, but at the moment, it's a little bit more fire in the tank for Leggett as they think about the reach around the mark for that high release. Oh, and that is a nice piece of offense. Eventually, they do find Jean-Pierre Rab for the goal.
Yeah, you might be able to hear on the on our commentary microphones, Jan Cortil doesn't necessarily like he's enthused about going on.
No, just peeling off his anorak, but 2 breaks up already to their lead on Leggett.
This is what they can do. They're not always necessarily at their best. They do make mistakes, but more often than not, they get it right, as we saw yesterday.
Another little rub of our camera lens to keep the pictures as clear as we can get them for you in these treacherous conditions. But looking at the results of these two teams, this is the 2 and 3 spot in power pools. Leggett's second in their pool against Man Down, with Tragic, Hips and Flash below them. And of course, for Pushing Daisies, they came bottom of Pool A, with Beers, Team America and Rainbow Warriors with that upset earlier this morning, Benji. So one team carrying a loss, the other a win. This would be huge for the Canadian side if they can snag one here. Lyon, lovely around pass, but it's going to be a bit too far. Evelina Sosonowska. Curé just taps the disc. Oh, and that's a lovely little bit of layout action from Jacques Cochet. Swinging across now, keeping the disc nice and low against this rising wind. Leroylek pops through. Coltman puts a nice bladey backhand to the far side of the end zone, and that is a nice goal. Jacques Cochet reeling it in, and Leggett are now 3-0 above their opponents.
Yeah, Leggett, it's almost like they've got somewhere to be because they're really not hanging around. They've put 3 points in, and they've only turned it over the once, but they have required some big plays to do it. There was that lovely layout grab low to the ground. I do like their red zone patience, though, after the turn. They don't just force it in as soon as they're close. They're happy to work it around a little bit, and they're just the blade cutting through the wind there from Coltman. Finds the target of Cochet for the score.
Yeah, we saw a lot of Clayton Coltman in their previous live stream game. Originally playing with the Appalachian State Nomads. Says he's played for too many clubs to list, Benji.
I'll take his word for it.
But indeed, he also hosts a charity tournament called the Beth Coltman Memorial. He was telling us ahead of this game that the wind conditions are often 60-mile-an-hour gusts.
So this must be like a walk in the park. You'd expect we don't get sand in the park. A walk on the beach, I guess.
Well, some people think that running on beach is going to be an easier task, but soon they find out it's much to the contrary, because you can't generate the same level of bounce off the surface, saps the kinetic energy, as we see Wilgen looking around for a reset, finds one. Kavanagh swings. Lovely inside shot, but that tipples off the hands initially and cannot be recaught by Joran Ort.
Yeah, trying his best to make sure that wouldn't go to hand there is Cortil.
Oh, a little bit too far. Alexis Bouliot tapped the sand off the disc, but didn't hesitate quite long enough on that throw to make it good. So you get another look at that battle for the disc for Ort. He's going to bring it back into play. Of course, his son playing for Salaspils in the European Beach Ultimate Club Championships a few days ago.
Interestingly, Joran lists his son as a sporting hero. It's very sweet.
Well, of course, he did a lot for the Gut team, did Ort, as he launches a high one over the shoulder of the mark. A little bit lost for options.
Yeah, it looked like he really didn't want to throw that flick in these slippery conditions, so tried his best to get the backhand off, but Jets can't do anything with it.
Yeah, Alexis Bouliot plays a game of pinball for one, but drops the frisbee eventually. Ort reading it well. Nice one down the sideline. A little bit of a stumble there from Wilgen, but happy to do so. But in gets the hand in the mixer and bakes up a defensive block. Not sure if there's a call here.
Yeah, it must be an uncontested foul.
Well, César Tessero played a lot of physical defense in the previous Leger game, so perhaps a little bit too much here. Ort now. Nice dish up the line. Receives the swing back. Can't quite hit that break side. Oh, but sneaking towards that front corner. Almost ruthlessly free. I think that's Karen Kavanagh with the goal.
Yeah, Ort's, he's got the in that backhand grip, so he's really threatening the break throw there. Gives the force a little bit more room, or is given a little bit more room by the force, I should say. Stepping off, I think really keen to stop that break, and it's just sitting on that backhand to the fourth side, the old dad or barbecue backhand, so we like to call it. And that's the first point of the game for Pushing Daisies.
Well, nice to see them finally get one to their tally. And nice moves from Karen Kavanagh, actually. She sort of spoiled the mark on an underneath sort of move towards the break side, and then realizing that the mark's sort of, you know, weight had been distributed on that soft side, off she went. As we now see a sun umbrella being used as a giant rain umbrella, which actually I spotted on the way through the fields earlier today.
Yeah, the lovely Luna trying her best to keep Chips and the camera dry.
We love you, Luna. La 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 la.
It's been said. Oh,
been sung many, many times yesterday. So a turnover for Pushing Daisies generated as the wind starts to rise. Picked up by Millet. Threatening that inside flick, turning all the way around, stamping everywhere in the passport. Can that be redeemed? No, nobody running underneath it. Great attempt, but tipped off by the defender. Excellent stuff for Leggett.
Chevalier fully committed to preventing that going into the goal.
So as our pole cam gets rather warm and wet and wild, a disc going far into the deep space, but cannot be brought down by Mallet. He has a great go at the bid, but that's going to be picked back up by Pushing Daisies' Billy Millet. Millet launches one deep, and it's going to sail way over the head of Wing Lung Chan.
After a clean start to the game, it's got a little bit scrappier.
Well, I don't hate it. It was Leggett that were putting on all these clean, devastating defensive performances.
There's a replay of the avoiding action taken on the pool, though I think we might be seeing it because someone in the box was not necessarily so convinced about it. You having fun out there, Luna?
I love these conditions, Benji. Not because I love to be in them, but because of the impact they have on athletes and staff who need to continue to work hard out here, regardless of the wind and rain. Now looking around for options are Leggett.
Not since Princess Peach has someone wielded a parasol so magnificently.
A little bit of poach in the lane from Millet. Not perhaps the best idea, although there is just a straight up drop. Frédéric Lamallet looks at his hands in dismay, but again, it's a bit of an overshoot from Pushing Daisies. They can't seem to be able to control their discs right now. They're trying to hit Winglin Chang again.
I wonder if they're just playing the field position game a little bit, because they know with the disc so slick and slippery and with the wind as well going against them, against their opposition in that direction, they just, you know, maybe we back ourselves to be able to generate that short field turn and punch it in the red zone.
I don't hate it, although it would be nice to see them try something a little bit different, because that's a good couple of turnovers they've had by just chucking it towards the end zone.
Yeah, I think they've got a bit more quality than just having to pump it every time.
So Les Jets flowing around. Curé. Nice high pop into the chest. Rosnet to Chevalier. Chevalier attacks the inside. A little bit of a poach on the far side for Rab.
It sounded to me like there was a little bit of a fingertip maybe on that on the mark.
Perhaps, but that's a lovely release and an easy sinker. Oh, but the missed catch. An opportunity squandered, and you can see the devastation on the hands of Frédéric Mallet. That's the second just straight up drop for him in this point.
Yeah, it feels so gutting when you do all the hard work. You get down there and you can see he's got two hands on that. There's no reason why he shouldn't come up with that catch. But in the wind and the rain, these discs, they sometimes don't stick like you feel they should.
Well, I don't know, maybe he'd started celebrating a little bit too early. There's a big old poach in the underneath space, just about taken as the defender started to come across. Nadine can. Yes, she can. Swings back. Oh, a lovely backhand break. El Maraghi launches it over the top, but not enough loft and spin put on that disc.
Yeah, 8 turnovers now at this point, and you can tell that it's becoming a bit of a grind out there. And players maybe losing some of the zest and zeal they had when this point got underway.
But nice to see Daisies looking at a bit of a different option rather than just straight going for the end zone. Proving they can move it around very nicely. Mallet. Rosnet to Chevalier. This is lovely flow. Chevalier again. Now a brief moment of pause as everyone streaks through. Curé. Low release backhand. Oh, and squeaks it around the mark for another just hold. That was really, really strong work for Les Jets.
That was a hell of a hold. All that good work you did at the start of the game means nothing if you can't keep on to that. You get broken, you let the opposition get a little bit of a head of steam built up. You see here on the replay, getting so low and really squeezing that underneath the hands of the mark, punching it in for Ronet, and that'll be 4-1 to Les Jets.
And a bonjour to Rosnet's 3 daughters, Philomene, Juliette and Augustine, and his lovely wife Caroline, who he says will probably be watching these games.
Some very French names there, I think, probably as you'd expect.
Yes, indeed. How is your French, Benji?
Not what it used to be. You would never believe that I did French all the way up to IB and was actually reasonably good at it. Such what happens when you just completely ignore a language for the better part of a decade.
Tu dois pratiquer plus, Benji.
Mais oui.
Oh, but tell you what, that's a pretty well practiced move, that layout to redeem possession.
Dorian there on the catch.
But a high one, can that be redeemed? No, the defense are swiping underneath it. Clayton Coltman, who actually did have an invite to play for an alternative team, Benji.
Yeah, but having not made his initial selection for Masters in Limerick, put in a call, picked up with the Jets and felt like he would get that connection going again, and that's a great connection for Les Jets to make it 5-1 as Coltman finds the option down the line for the score.
Yeah, a lovely backhand around break again, finding Jacques Cochet. And Leggett really starting to find a nice rhythm here. That's a further break to add to their tally. 5-1 the score, 4 breaks for the French.
Yeah, Leggett are, of the kind of their various options, it's clear that Cochet is probably their main scorer. 7 goals coming into this game, and already tacked on another 2 here.
Well, clearly having a good time so far in this tournament. Cochet was sneakily not on our initial roster. When they were warming up yesterday, Benji, I was going around sort of making sure that we had all of our names and numbers present and correct. But an incognito mystery man, perhaps. But about 20 minutes having expired on this play clock. So we're just under halfway through this game. Of course, there'll be a timed half at 25 minutes. If we don't get to 7 before then, if Leggett don't punch them on the board.
Yeah, although after a slightly scrappy couple of points, maybe Leggett have found a bit of form now.
Ort launching one into the deep space. That looks a lot better placed, but it's just a bit too far. You can see almost a slowdown on Robert Elmaragi as he tries to ping that one in.
I think you see where Ben gets it from.
Oh yeah, shooter's going to shoot. And Uranort is actually at the top of the stats leaderboard at the moment for the Canadian side. He has 5 stats in total, which is all assists, unsurprisingly.
And with that throwing parry, it makes sense. You see why.
But perhaps the wind pushing that one a little bit too far, sailing away. Tessero throws almost into traffic, a bit of a spooker there. Gets away from Sophie Deaunois.
Yeah, Nadine Can, I think, got a hand in there.
Or getting us underway. There's a big poach and it's found and exploited on the far side. Kavanagh launches one that looked a little bit uncomfortable on the release, but that is brought in well. Another goal for Pushing Daisies, and Mackenzie King with the score.
For Pushing Daisies, you can see that they've got the potential there. Maybe, especially bringing a smaller roster than a lot of other teams, you know, you're a little bit more tired and fatigued, especially in this sort of weather. It does grind you down somewhat. Let's not sugarcoat it. But if they can get these to string these passages of play together a little bit more consistently, well, they can, you know, they're not out of this game.
Absolutely. It's a big old mountain to climb, but the first point, just holding that offense. Let's see if Daisies can come out and cause some mischief against this Leggett offense.
Has the rain stopped?
Oh, don't even talk about it, Benji. It will hear you and it will come back. Don't mind if I do.
Oh, I don't think it's stopped, but it certainly has lessened.
It's eased off. So Leggett on offense. Rosnet on the far side. A little spearing pass through to Mallet. The line sort of saying no around, trying to shut down these devastating backhand around breaks.
Yeah, Thape was really looking for that one, wasn't it?
Loiseau with a blady flick's gonna overshoot Frédéric Mallet.
Loiseau, the bird?
I believe so.
I mean, there's no apostrophe in there, but otherwise it works.
Oiseau is definitely the word for bird.
That
Bird,
much I know.
bird, bird. The bird is the word. Been playing for more than 20 years. Known for his solid handling, which he displays out here on these sand pitches. But a poach out of nowhere. Jean-Pierre Rab gets the disc back with enviable goal position. A little bit of a stumble there, almost into the end zone off that redeemed pass. Bouliot put a bit too much sauce on it, but the third on the asking, knocking on the door and then punching the goal in. And that is just a hold for Leggett, but it took them a little while to do it, Benji.
Yeah, and the bookends as well, double happiness for Jean-Pierre Rabet. JP, he's got on the back of his jersey. This was the turn. He's poaching off this far side option here. as the hand is looking at it, and he's reading his eyes, and so he sees that cut develop from underneath, and he sees that thrower's lasered in on it. So he comes into there nice and early as well, gets the block cleanly, doesn't generate any contact, and then just kind of stands still in the end zone and waits for everyone to forget about him a little bit. And sometimes, yeah, why sprint all over the place when you can just stand still and have people throw it to you?
Well, Antoine Rosnet didn't have the busiest game earlier on in this live stream when we saw Le Jet yesterday, but a little wave there back to the fans at home. Or perhaps might see some bisous. Of course, the French renowned for greeting each other with kisses as well as handshakes and waves, which, if you're not expecting it, can be quite jarring.
Yes.
Well, I'll tell you what, Pushing Daisies have got to be expecting that big shot from Jurin Ort. And again, Winglung Chan not able to come down with any of the big biscuits he's been asked to.
I feel there's a moment where Chan maybe slows down a little bit and gets caught coming slightly underneath the disc, and then he has to alter his path to go straight deep. And maybe if he continued going straight all the way, he might have just been able to bring that one in.
Well, it's a tricky one. I think they're throwing a lot of same third hucks, Benji, trying to hit the receivers without really leading them too much, with the wind pushing the disc down at all times, going right to left on our screen. So Le Jet, low release, but that's going to fall into no man's land.
Yeah, clearly frustrated with himself after he released that one crochet.
Low inside release, great continuation there. And Lung Chan able to finally catch one of the passes from his teammates. A big effort on the far sideline from Ort. Dishes back. King. Back to Ort. Just happy to play a bit of catch between the two of them, inching ever closer towards the end zone. Threatens the inside. Throws and goes. Off to the end zone goes King. Oh, and that's another connection. No, just missed. Hit him right in the hand.
But it's so tough when you're on the sideline. You've got to think about making the catch, keeping your feet in bounds as well. Just coming in at a slightly dicey angle as well. Maybe it's just a touch too far out.
Yeah, perhaps that strike cut could have been a tiny bit flatter, giving himself an ability to sort of change the shape of the cut and move towards the sideline rather than the window closing up. But an immediate deep put, trying to throw themselves out of jail, works out perfectly. Clayton Coltman reading that one like a favourite family story. Gaucher gonna have to take the pot back. Curé with a right-handed glove, just keeping the grip solid. Tuttle. Curé, oh, leads over to the side and cannot quite connect. Clayton Coltman extends that left arm over his head, and you can see how dismayed he is. He was close, but no cigar.
It's one of those really agonizing ones. It's like someone's got the old carrot on a string and they're just leading you and you desperately chase after it, but you can't quite get there. Open it up initially with that huge deep put out of... was that Lokolek? This is the one that angles, just always taking it away from Coltman. A wonderful effort.
It seems like Coltman has indeed now emerged from the sand after taking an injury sub, so hopefully he's okay.
Yeah, nothing hopefully untoward, just maybe winded himself a little bit, especially with the kind of the slightly more compacted sand in the rain. I don't know why I did a hand gesture, no one could see it.
I see you, Benji.
Thanks, Han.
So Jurin Ort is going to bring us back into play on that far sideline. I wonder, Benji, if it's going to be somebody cutting deep and Ort losing it to try and regain that position. Oh, everyone flooding deep. It's a tiny bit softer and just bounces out of the palms of Robert El Maraghi on the far side.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that disc was in bounds, actually, or if he was in bounds when he set off to hit that disc. But you can clearly, they know that Ort's got a cannon and everyone's cutting deep, and you know, while that's the option you want, you need to provide some variety as well, because Jets know that, and they're just clamped down on it.
Well, it has gained some yardage. We're not going to come back in straight away on that goal line almost. Oh, no. I take it back. Uranort had set up almost like it was going to come in at midfield, but it is indeed an enviably short way to go for Les Jets to punch in the 7th goal of this game.
Yeah, that would take us into the half as well.
A pop back. Gouret opens up a lovely backhand break, and that is going to be good. Les Jets take half. And not to pick on somebody too much, Benji, but we did see yet another example of somebody kicking the cone off of the tape here. And it's something that I've got a bit of a bee in my bonnet about.
Leave the cones alone.
Leave the cones alone. They're part of the playing field. If you set up your pivot point where the cone exists, then you've set your pivot point out of bounds, because the cone's part of the playing field, mate. Keep it where it is.
I only advocate the kicking of the cones when there's a game advisor on hand to make a swag catch. Otherwise, no, I'm with you. Bang out of order.
But, of course, these players out here have been through numerous rules changes, so we can maybe let them off for moving that cone around, because I think you used to be able to do it back in the day. But, yeah. Ultimate stars of the future watching this broadcast. Please don't move the cones.
They've worked so hard.
My favourite is when you're playing at practice and a dog comes along and steals one of the cones. That's always a good laugh. So everybody joining us in our wonderful volunteer tent here. Keep our scorekeepers staying nice and dry. Shout out to Oscar, who's done all of Les Jets' games so far. We might get a little bit of colour from him as to how the rest of the games have gone, as he shakes his head at us and we wipe the droplets off of our camera lenses.
Luna's being put to work a lot, isn't she, doing that?
A tireless staff member. And always does it with a smile, which we like. So as the wind continues to gust across the pitch, Les Jets with it at their back, coming out on offense in the second half. Beaulieu to a falling Chauder, but secures the catch. These sort of slinky semi-break inside flicks working out really well. Hosne leads the space. A pit call is going to give us a brief moment of pause. I did see the sideline signalling.
Yeah, good use of communicative hand signals there, which are, I think, an excellent addition to the. I mean, they've been around for a fair few years now, actually. But I remember when they came in, just how much easier it made life for commentators. Not that that's the reason they were brought in, but it's a nice side effect, certainly.
So Antoine Rosnet just waiting for the communication for everybody to get back into their assigned place when the infraction occurred. There's an easy one to Chardel behind if he needs it. Back in action. Rosnet threatens the around but chooses the pass back. Oh, and that's an easy goal for Les Jets. Alexis Beaulieu gets completely free.
Yeah, the advantage of getting those breaks in the first half is that they now receive to begin the second and quickly turn it from 7-2 into 8-2. A nice clean hold there to begin the second half from the French, and seeing there's a little bit of love for Les Jets in chat, including from, not that they're more important than anyone else, but I see Cyril of Force Ultimate is in there, who provided our very shiny ULTI.TV gear, which I must admit is slightly damper than we'd probably like, but I am so in love with them. They're brilliant.
I have to say, I'm actually really impressed at the soft shell.
It's a lot more waterproof than potentially I thought it might be.
Yeah, usually you get a bit of splash proofiness, but it's held up fantastically. I have personally been adding a little bit of anorak action to it. And some of the players... Oh, indeed, anoraction indeed. Some of the players out on the pitches today have been sporting some waterproofs underneath their jerseys to try and, you know, just have the dampness of their own body sweat.
that's I think that illustrates quite how wet it is out here.
Oh yes, it is wet, wet, wet. We feel the sand in our fingers and we feel it between our toes. Frisbee is all around us. So the feeling grows? I don't know.
Yeah, I know what you were doing, and I let it continue.
Chapuis lasering it forward. This Pushing Daisies roster, I was going to say, has lots of wonderful female matching players, but eventually Wingland Chan picks up his first goal of the game. They've tried so hard to connect with him in the end zone, Benji, and at long last it pays off.
Maybe they were just trying it from too far out. Rather than get him going deep, have him stretch it across laterally. Chapuis pings that in to Sosnowska. Develina looking downfield at her options. Eventually coming through. Beating correct to that near, or that far cone, excuse me, is Chan for the score.
Yeah, and lovely to see Sosnowska getting on the board, the law clerk from Ottawa.
Yeah, so it's a very francophone matchup we've got here.
Indeed, although an interesting one of some non-native French speakers. Do you find it quite difficult to understand people from the Quebecois region?
I mean, me too, but that's because they speak French. And as I mentioned, it's not what it used to be.
Or perhaps we'll have to just drop you in the middle of French-speaking Canada or France itself, Benji. Or maybe one of the old French territories, French Polynesian Islands, anybody?
Oh,
I'm sure there'd be some good beach ultimate action there. If you could convince the locals to play. So, a turnover generated by some hot pressure defense from Pushing Daisies. Unfortunately, though, it is all for naught as they overthrow Jamie Vilgan. Picking back up Boulot. Fiery biscuit to Coltman. Opens up a backhand. Knocking on the doorstep of the next goal. Oh, and it's just an easy run through. Clayton Coltman using his speed and agility to just burn and churn up that line. And that is 9-3 now, the lead for Les Jettes over Pushing Daisies.
Yeah, we're not really seeing it because Coltman hasn't necessarily picked up the dead disc, but you can see there on the replay, he's got a towel poking out of his shorts, which I think in these conditions, honestly, smart move. I'm down. Always worth taking that extra second just to make sure you get any moisture and gunk out of there.
Well, Jan Corti with the assist there. The little towelettes poking out the shorts is indeed a good move. You can keep the sweat off your palms, the rain off your palms, and it's, a little bit of an eye catcher, perhaps distract your defender while you're running in the opposite direction.
Yeah, it's going to be a very moist towelette at the moment, though, you'd imagine.
Soggy for sure, collecting all the sand and moisture out here on the fields. Sosnowska turns, looks at the reset, throws it. It's completely poached off at that first moment, but he's got eyes only for the end zone and overthrows the eventual targets there. Perhaps a little stumble from Chan.
I mean, so much gas behind that throw.
Sorry, that's not Chan. Is that Elmadagi?
I think it is.
Well, it's one of the two targets. They do like to send their higher numbers into the deep part of the field.
I think you're right, that is Robert Elmaralki, but yeah, just too much on that from Millet.
Well, perhaps tiredness starting to set in. There's a bit of an elongated return to play for Les Jettes. Mallet fires it up line. Vosnay around. And a pit call, or perhaps a foul. In fact, yeah, we're going to see Kristen Tuttle coming off. I think she got a bit of a bump to the face. There's some blood flowing.
Yeah, they're going to bring on Sophie Day on the wires as a replacement.
And a sub as well taken for Pushing Daisies.
Yeah, Millet comes off and Wildgun comes on.
Our volunteers ever at the ready with an ice pack to try and apply some relief for Tuttle.
And some tissue as well, so I wonder if she's got maybe a little bit of a nosebleed.
Oh, I think she caught her lip by the looks of the pattern. Oh, and there's a great piece of pressure defense from Pushing Daisies, but they immediately push the disc far, far too far away from Mackenzie King. Short field now for Leggett. And a timeout to give us a bit more of an injection of oxygen.
Yeah, you can see that things were getting frantic there off the quick pickup, and Leggett thinking, oh, we're not falling into that trap again. Time for us to take a little moment to pause and collect ourselves.
Well, and as the athletes on the pitch do, so will we. We'll be back with the second half of this game after these short messages.
We believe mixed is the best for the sport, for the world. That's why we're making a global showcase, starting in Europe, made in Amsterdam. ULTI.TV. ULTI.net.
Right now, he's going to have to bid. Just a football! Huge layout block. Unbelievable stuff on the front corner of the end zone.
Maybe just that boost of energy they needed.
Huge swing pass and a great grab there from Steer.
Nova Electric, become a member.
Well, feeling it between our toes. The wet sand underfoot as Leggett overthrow the form in the end zone of Sophie Delnoy.
The curse of the turnout strikes the Jets.
Bringing it back in, Mackenzie King just giving the disc a little bit of a wipe with his jersey. The wind, of course, trying to dry out what the rain has layered upon it. It's a high one, but well collected by Vanessa Lyon. Immediately finding Wilgen. A little lead, though, perhaps a bridge too far. Cannot be brought in by Sonoskovska. So Leggett once again charging in this upwind side, but a drop on the layout. Correa gives it away. Lyon picks up, high release backhand. That's got a good amount of loft on it, and it is collected with style. Evelina Soskonovska with the goal for Pushing Daisies. It might be a little bit too much late, Benji, but that was a bit of class.
Yeah, Sosnovska getting a goal to add to her earlier assist as well. Unfortunately for her, we didn't get the greatest shot of it because Mackenzie King has blocked our view perfectly.
Oh, the Finny of the World Great Grandmasters Championship so far.
We'll let him off because, you know, he's actually on the pitch. You know, it's not as if it's someone from the sideline encroaching. But, I mean, he could not have photobombed that any better if he tried, could he? Let's be realistic here.
I mean, it's a picturesque derriere to have blocked the fantastic effort for Sovanoska.
I think she's going to... Oh, I thought she was going to retreat back in the tent and get out of the rain. Although, as I say that, again, doesn't feel that wet out there at the moment, he says from the comfort of the of our little marquee.
Well, by the looks of the face of our wonderful scorekeeper, Oscar, it doesn't look to be raining super hard as he jumps out. Weatherman, dry as a bone, he says. Dry as a bone. Well, we'll get the report from him later on in this game.
I don't know about that one.
Well, Chalder moving it to Tessero. And just kneeling. Not really so much running, Chalder. It's just sort of, you know, crawling around the pitch on his knees.
It's fine. Get yourself the chest as a backboard.
Loiseau lofting it to Cochet. And back. Tessero in the sand. Oh, and that's a lovely release, but it's going to be a bit too far for Jacques Cochet.
They'd worked it down the field so nicely until Cez, as he's known, because of that jersey number 16, César Tessero, I guess it's a little bit of a pun there. Cesar. Makes sense, I like it. Worked it so nicely and then just got slightly the wrong edge on it and it took it away from Cochet.
Ort with the disc in hand finds Cliff Udale bearing the 69 shirt. Oh, and that's a huge run through D. Absolutely annihilated Yancorti getting the block. Loiseau picks it up and lofts. Cesar. Tessero shoots into the ground.
Similar direction, this one, rather than getting too far, he's maybe overcorrected and he doesn't get enough on it, and it doesn't give the chance for a Cochet to make the bid.
This time, the two handlers trading spaces. The first pass going to Joran Ort. Oh, that's a really beautifully put shot into the bread basket of Udale, but you see the error there. All thrown away after such a nice disc from Ort. Loiseau. Cotti. Oh, that's going to be gold for sure. No, it's not. It trails out of bounds. Difficult to see the tape from our perch over here. But trying to hit Cochet again.
I mean, he's already got 3 goals this game, so I think that's 10 for the tournament now for Cochet, plus an assist. But I'll be honest, there comes a point, you've been open in the end zone 3 times, at neither point you've really had the chance to make a play. You might think, maybe I'll let someone else do the end zone monkey work.
Maybe I'll go out, as we see that error. Trying to hit Joran Ort, who's now bringing us back into play. Oh, and just a bobble, the cluster of the hands, unable to collect the disc there.
The Spanners want all you want back in the box.
Chardin with the inside flick, and that is going to be good. And at long last, that point ends. 3 turnovers apiece, and finishing it off is Cesar Tessero.
Yeah, that'll be 10-4 to Leget.
10-4.
Just going to see, just trying to work out how close we are to that time cap.
And indeed, you are on it, Benji. We are now hearing the sound of the whistle, indicating that regulation time has expired, so this will be either a game to 11 or 12, depending on who punches the next point in, as Luna, with her parasol of power, keeping chips out of the wind and rain.
Looking very kawaii.
And the fans in the stands enjoying the scenes here. They are Leget fans. Are you? Let us know in the comments.
Quite an underwhelming wave, but given there are 6 of them, I think they did a good job.
Oh, absolutely. It's not about the size of your wave, it's about the motion in your ocean. And that is a lovely piece of offense for Pushing Daisies. Can they keep their paws on the disc? Vilgen going to ground. Little pop in front. Oh, and that's a nice release, but it pinballs off the chest. Devastation trying to hit, I think, Chapuis.
Yeah, can't quite see actually from this angle, but that must be agonizing because it felt like she did all the hard work, and then as she's going to make the catch, just loses the footing.
I think she decided to hit the deck, but it just a lot of loft on that one, going towards the collarbone even. Oh, Nadine can. Unfortunately couldn't on that option. So Leget against the wind. Stall count rising, just going to have to chuck it into the deep space. Defenders underneath hustling, and that is fantastic boxing from Jamie Vilgen. And he'll leave the disc where it is and allow Billy Millet to come and get us back into play as the athletes downfield move themselves around. No undercut from Lyon, was a little bit poached off, but just stays still. And a foul immediately accepted. Bit too much contact there.
Chevalier is trying to use that wingspan to just sneak over the top and palm that away, but there must be a bit of contact on the back as he's coming through.
Yeah, didn't keep that shoulder blade out of the way enough. Maybe a call of verticality even, a lesser scene. Lyon looks around for the reset. Doesn't like the look of any of them, just punches it in towards the flying form, Nadine Can.
Yeah, I think she was focused on those rates, on those resets, quite high in the stall count. So it gets to about 9, turn downfield and get it released. But if she looks maybe downfield a split second earlier, she might be able to have a bit more time to adjust that throw to Can.
Yeah, perhaps a bit of a lack of commitment. We see a pick coming through as Jeff Couret tries to sneak away.
Nice loud pick call. Not leaving anyone into any doubt as to what's happened there.
And yet more pickage going on, perhaps.
I think so, but I don't think it affected the turnover, so they're going to say that it stands.
So enviable field position for Pushing Daisies to try and make this a game to 11. Keep themselves in. Millet falls over but throws the assist anyway. Oh yes. Billy Millet.
4 to the floor for Billy Millet, and he pumps it in there. It's like he was determined to get that throw off by hook or by crook. And it doesn't matter that he's on the floor. He's keeping that arm up, and he's got enough wherewithal to still be able to fire that in accurately enough.
Literally none of the pivots, but all of the throws.
Well, you say none of the pivots. I'll tell you what, that's pretty good for my eyes. I don't think I could do that. I mean, my physiotherapist did once say that I was the most inflexible person she'd ever seen, but that's not the point here.
Well, when you can't get yourself out of the pivot, just commit. Billy Millet chucking that one in there, getting his first assist of the game. He's coached at the youth and juniors level, as well as the current coach of the Ignite, the Ottawa's junior competitive boys team. So if you're currently looked after by Coach Millet, I hope that got you nice and fired up. So you see Le Jets trying to turn on the burners and advance themselves in these power pull stages. Wulio puts a creative inside flick, but that's not going to be brought down by Rosne.
Yeah, they say you walk a fine line between genius and insanity, I guess. That one, if it came off, we'd have all been saying, what a throw that is, seeing the space, sitting it out there, but couldn't quite get the finesse maybe to pull it off. Idea, 10 out of 10. Execution, not quite so high.
Well, an opportunity as the stands start to give us a bit of clapping energy. Is it going to be a round of applause? Uran Ort receiving the reset and swinging across. Chapuis. Ort now. Oh, I thought that was going to be a fake for a moment, and it just lands shy of the intended receiver. El Maraghi unable to bring that one in.
Already they're trying to give communication and instruction to the mark. Can already hear no huck, please. They want to keep the disc down that other end of the pitch.
Yeah, so expect to see a nice tight mark up in the face. Makes it easier to thread those little near passes through, but much harder to get that step around to throw the big ones. Generate the turn in the torso. And a turnover is generated, so that long pass from Ort comes off and pays dividends, and there's a little teeny tiny one into the end zone and collecting the goal. It might be a little bit too much to ask for a full comeback here, Benji, but that got a bit exciting. Seems to be some confusion on the field as to whether that one was in or not. A travel call, perhaps on the throw for Mort.
I'm going to press undo. This would be the first break of the game for Pushing Daisies, if they could punch it in.
Perhaps they need to do some pre-warm-ups for their warm-ups. Do Pushing Daisies. They found some excellent form later in the second half of this game. Oh, but they throw it at the unexpected Cliff Udale, who just lets it drop to the floor in almost a little dribble. Boulot. Oh, there is time, there is space, but there is not enough energy in the legs of Jean-Pierre Rab to bring that in. Just taking the small passes. Oh, or it's going to open up an expansive backhand, but unfortunately, once again too far. Robert El-Maraghi just threw himself onto the sand just for funsies at the end of that one, and a little bit of applause from the sideline. They like it.
I mean, you may as well, right? What have you got to lose?
And just see that little bit of tilt on the disc. If that had been Pete Saservery flat, that could have worked quite nicely, but a little bit of tilt and the wind just...
I've got bad news for how off balance I used to be when I was a pizza delivery person.
Well, let's not talk about your previous career. You're such a great commentator, Benji. I'm sure you've never done anything wrong professionally ever.
Yes, I'll go with that, sure.
Rab swinging across, making a hero out of Chalder, he dares to put it towards the end zone, and finally that is the goal for Leggett. Sophie Deaulnoy collecting with the layout, and Leggett will defeat Pushing Daisies 11-5.
I feel like we haven't seen too much from Deaulnoy this game, but she comes up big when it counts. You can see this flick there is asking a fair amount of Deaulnoy. Let's not beat around the bush here. Really rips it downfield. The edge is taking a little bit away from her as well, but getting horizontal. The clap catch layout keeps contact with it as well. Holds firm on landing, doesn't ground strip herself. An 11-5 final score here for Leggett for Pushing Daisies. Another disappointment, still winless, but 11-5, their closest game so far. So they're, maybe picking up a little bit of momentum going forward.
Yeah, you could see on that replay, Evelina Sosonowska having just slowed down, realised she'd been a little bit had, but that was a better performance in the second half. The trade outs for the Canadian side, really great performance, but Leggett had the turbocharge to begin with. That 3-0 lead really put them firmly in control of the pace and intensity of this game. So that's going to wrap us up for our coverage for today, but don't you worry, we'll be bringing you plenty of action tomorrow, Friday of this tournament. Who do we have first thing, Benji?
So 9:30 local time tomorrow morning, the young legends of Germany return to the stream up against a first appearance for Courier Island.
Who, of course, at this club level, Benji, can actually go on and win the darn thing.
Right, it's a change because normally Courier Island are kind of there to fill in the gaps in the schedule, make up the numbers, so are disqualified from the top brackets, but no such restrictions here. So interesting to see how well they've knitted things together.
Indeed, and we'll also have a bit more Leggett action for you French fans. They'll be on at 11 o'clock against Biz of Japan. Then we'll be bringing you some quarter-final action. Of course, semi-finals and finals will happen on Saturday, where we might get some inclement weather. We might not. We'll have to see.
We'll be fine, Hannah. I'll tell you what, we'll let future us worry about that.
Absolutely. But that's going to wrap us up for our coverage here for today. For myself, Hannah Pendlebury, for Benji Rees, for all of our wonderful, fantastic, stalwart ULTI.TV media crew. It's been a pleasure to bring you this day of the World Great Grandmasters Beach Ultimate Club Championships 2022. But tune in tomorrow for more action here from the sand on Portimão. We will see you tomorrow morning.
right now. He's going to have to bid. Just a football.
Huge layout block. Unbelievable stuff on the front corner of the end zone.
Maybe just that boost of energy they needed.
Quick pass and a great grab there from Spear.
The ultimate things in life are free, and we're keeping it that way. Subscribe to keep up with the latest games, tournaments, and community content. Share it with your team and friends, and drop a like to help spread Ultimate to more people. Spread the word, spread the love. ULTI.TV.
We believe mixed is the best for the sport, for the world. That's why we're making a global showcase, starting in Europe, made in Amsterdam. ULTI.TV. ULTIleague.net.
Always on the move? You can keep up to date with ULTI.TV on all of our social media channels. Like, follow, subscribe, share us with a friend, or send us a message just to say hey. Thank you for supporting us in our mission to grow Ultimate everywhere.
Don't want to miss anything?
There are loads of tournaments happening, which you can attend either as a player or a spectator. You can find them on ULTICAL, link in the description.
ULTI.TV, BUCC lyrical.
Merci beaucoup.
ULTI.TV.